So first thing you're going to want to do is write a new method for finding the non-repeating integer. And in this case, we're going to want to return an integer, so I'm going to call it find non-repeating. And here we're going to want to pass an integer array into the function. So we're going to use that as a parameter. And I'm going to comment out our okay. So if you notice right now we have this error, that's just because it doesn't return an int yet. Basically, to get rid of that real quick, we're just going to do return -1. That'll be our sort of our base case if every integer in the array is in there more than once. It will return -1, basically telling the user that there's no repeats, or that there's no solo variables. So we're going to have to go through the array twice. So I'm going to start with the for loop for int I equals 0. I is less than array.length. I plus, that increments the I. And then we're going to another for loop to go through it the second time. So for int j equals 0, j is also less than array.length. Brackets. So then we're going to want to check if I does not equal j. This is basically saying we're not on the same index, because I and j are the indexes. And array of I equals array of j. This line is saying here we have a repeat. So if we're inside of these curly brackets, we have a repeating integer. That means we want to break out of this second for loop and increment I again, because I is checking all the j's to see if they match. So we'll move on to the next I. So then, basically we just want to say if j equals array.length, meaning we got to the end without having a break, then we're going to return the I we're currently on. So if we went through all these j's and we didn't find a match, and we reached the end, this should be -1. Then we're going to return the I that we're currently on, meaning we didn't find a match. So this check all of my brackets. Looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to want to make our test case. So let's design an array. 4, so if there's going to be a duplicate of 4. 7, it's going to be a duplicate of 5. Now we're going to have 8. So then we want to call our new function. So find non, and so we put the array in there. Fix that. Alright, and we should be able to run this. And before we go, we should always know what your output is. Our only non-repeating integer in here is 7, so it should return a 7. It's actually one more thing, just so we can see if we get some actual output. System.out.println. This just prints out the return value of this function. Save it. And there we go, we have a 7. So, okay, so I just wanted to make one little note. So that first way we did it, it's only going to return the first non-repeating integer. So if you look at an array like this, where we have 5 is not repeating and 7 is not repeating, the result we get is only 5. So I'm going to show you how to get all of the repeating integers. It's a few more steps, but nothing too bad. So first, I think we're going to change that to void and get rid of that. So first, in here, we're going to want to declare a new array where we're going to store results and make the array the same length as the input parameter array, just to be sure we have enough space in the worst case scenario where every single element is not repeated. It would be able to fill that in. And then we're going to need a new index to keep track of what place we are in this array. So all this stuff can pretty much stay the same. It's going to be right here where we're getting our result, where instead of just returning our result, we're going to actually store our result into the array at position k equals array of I. And then what we have our k for, we're going to increment that, so k plus 1. And then to show our result, because we're not returning anything, we're actually going to have to print our result in here. So, and to print an array, you need a for loop. So, print I 0, I is less than results I plus. And then we're going to say if results at I is equals 0, go ahead and break. So that way we're not just printing a bunch of zeros at the end of this, since it's only going to be 2. And then if we don't have that, we would print 8 zeros after. To print, yeah, let's do print. Plus space between all the letters. Results at I. There we go. And here we're going to need this to actually be .length. So then here, there's no reason to print out the result of this since it doesn't return anything. And instead, we just call it. And let's see how this goes. And there we go. There are your two non-repeating integers in this array. Yeah, pretty easy. So I'll have the code in the description below so it's easy for you to get, and thank you for watching.